Hi, I'm Lance Cottrell, Chief Scientist at Ntrepid, and today I want to talk about technical misattribution, or the information that your computer is providing about who you really are and how you can hide that. This is part 2 of a 4-part series on misattribution. For the general overview, you may want to go back and listen to episode 1 if you haven't already. So, what do I mean by technical misattribution? Well, it's hiding who you are and all of the information that your computer is giving out about you. And that's sort of in contrast to the non-technical misattribution that I'll talk about in the next episode, which includes things like name, address, phone number, appearance, and so forth. Your technical misattribution ties to the identifiers that your computer and your network reveal about you. So it includes things like your IP address, your MAC address for your network card, your system fingerprint, and your browser fingerprint. So all of the different identifiers that your browser has characterized by how it's been configured. So what fonts do you have installed? What plugins? What versions of all the software on your system do you have? All of that's visible to the websites you visit and actually goes together to create a unique identifier for you and your computer, and you can be recognized when you come back, even if you've deleted the most obvious of technical identifiers, cookies. Right? There's lots and lots of ways that your computer is allowing other organizations, other people, to identify you, recognize you, and recognize you again when you come back, even if you're not, for example, logging into the website. Your computer also provides a lot of information about your location. And of course, if you're trying to pretend you're somewhere other than you really are, that can mean the game's up even before it starts. And your computer will provide information about where you are based on its settings. It can show your time zone, which can reveal that you're not where you're supposed to be. But also, all of your devices are watching where you are using, in many cases, GPS or cell tower information. Interestingly, Wi-Fi can identify where you are. There are databases of the location of basically every Wi-Fi base station in the world. And by looking at the ones that your computer or your phone can see, and even better, looking at the relative signal strengths between them, you can be localized down to just a couple of feet range. And of course, IP addresses are also well known in terms of their location. So many organizations will do a lookup service for you. So given an IP address, they'll tell you where the person is probably sitting. Finally, you can analyze a person's network connection using tools like traceroute. So I can look at all of the hops that your packets are taking going out to the internet. And even if you have lied about your local IP address, if I see you're coming out of an ISP in your real city, that again immediately tells me that's probably where you are, and I've got your location. And of course, if your adversary can get malware onto your system, then they get all the identifiers, all the information on your system about who you are, where you are, what kind of network you're connected to. But of course, at the same time, they're also getting all your files and all the rest of your information. So by the time your opponent's gotten malware onto your system, you're probably in a lot of trouble, and protecting your misattribution may be one of the least of your concerns. So as you can see, all of this information is going to be available all of the time. You can't connect to a website and not have an IP address. You're either going to have cookies that they put on your system, or you will obviously have deleted your cookies and be refusing them. You will have plugins installed, or visibly not have plugins installed. You will have fonts and languages supported. All of this information is always going to be visible. So your choice isn't, I want to remove all traces, tracks, and identifiers. Your choice is really, what traces, tracks, and identifiers do I want to put out there? What do I want the website to see? What do I want my opponents to learn about my persona? And by shaping those appropriately, I can control who I look like and where I look like I am. So the key is intentionality. What story are you trying to tell? And then making sure that all of those details line up. Because if you do everything, say, except the IP address, you might as well not have done anything, because that then completely exposes the ruse. It's obvious that you're not who you say you are, and that you're trying to hide who and where you are. So completeness is also very important. You need to make sure that you're covering every single one of those identifiers to make sure that when someone looks back at you, you look like the real person you're trying to be. So thanks for listening to this episode of the Ntrepid Cast. In the next episode, I'll be talking about non-technical misattribution and how to hide those traces. And then in the final episode, I'll talk about the challenges that you'll run into trying to misattribute yourself online in the real world. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to make sure you get notified when the next episode comes out or when any of our videos on misattribution and internet operations gets posted. Thanks for now. Ciao.